Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and Dangerous Dave. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. the Playa, a.k.a. Benny the Jet, and with me, as always, my very special co-host. She's a Hall of Fame wrestler who spent 28 years breaking necks and cashing checks. She is the answer to Men at Work's question, who can it be now? She is the Boston Bad Girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you this very cold evening?
I am doing well, but I'm happy that it's no longer 5 degrees. It's now 32.
There
So
you
you know
go.
what? I can handle that. I can handle that. How
Time
about
for
you in Florida? Are you able to handle what's going on there?
I'll tell you what. I mean, me coming from New York and having lived 4 years in Robbinsdale, Minnesota. Yeah, I can. But some people, they lose their shit here. The minute it gets below 40, and then when they had we actually had a freeze warning here. Yeah, people panicked. Grandma Sally's was empty on Sunday.
Love it.
That's okay.
Wow.
More service for me from the servers.
Yeah,
They love
exactly.
me. They love me anyway. Well, now I have a poem for that handsome young lad wearing his GGB hat. I got to read this. Ready? Hang on. Here we go. All right. When you're at the carnival and you're craving a bite to eat, step to the back. You're on track for Dave's Pickles and his meat. He's Rod's biggest fan. He's Ari's main man. He's everybody's fave. He's Tori's dad. He's super bad. He's our great friend, Uncle Dave. Welcome, Dave.
Hey, hello everyone tonight. How are you? What a great poem. What a great poem there, Playa.
Great poem for a great guy. What can I say?
Yeah, you give the poet laureate the Macho Man's brother a run for his money there.
The other genius. See, we have the original genius. He was the other genius.
All right. I'm telling
That's
you,
right.
I'm doing great tonight. I had a great weekend, and to come home tonight within an hour, we had tickets to the Girls Gone Bible revival in Rhode Island. Me and Patty, that terrible Tory, got us. And then I was able to watch a trial come down live, a verdict. It was great. I mean, you don't get on a trial I was following, and you don't get to do that too much when you're working. And so it was great. I'm great Monday, and tonight I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
Well, I have to publicly commend Terrible Tori, even though she vomits a lot at some of your comments. She is one great kid.
Yes, both
Not
my
a kid.
daughters.
I mean, she's a grown woman, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, both my daughters are good. I'm very blessed. They're good kids. Not just saying that because they're my daughters, but they're good kids.
I noticed when you said blessed, you took your Girls Gone Bible book and you pointed it towards the camera.
Yes.
You're going to
blessed.
they're going to have to start giving you a kickback, these girls.
Oh, they're going to have to start giving me some dude wipes or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, or that, right? Kickbacks, dude wipes, whatever, right?
So so we have a great Monday night. It was a great weekend. We missed everybody last Monday. Unfortunately, everybody's not feeling well, but we're back and we got a great show tonight.
We do. And for those of you in Radio Land, thanks for listening on Want Radio. They got what you want. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and Boom Play. And please like and subscribe. And just a quick word from our sponsors, our two sponsors, and then we will be back with our show. True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars is brought to you by the Burbrower Law Firm. Folks, if you've been injured in a car accident, please reach out to our good friend Adam Burbrower at the Burbrower Law Firm. Adam and his crew do things the right way with great results. Not only is Adam a great attorney, but the dude has framed pictures of Ernie the Cat Lad, the unpredictable Johnny Rods, and our very own Boston Bad Girl in his office. How cool is that? If you see Adam at the community pool trying to nail that elusive triple Lindy, you'll notice superstar Billy Graham tattooed on his back and Bret the Hitman Hart tattooed on his chest. This guy is not only the man of the hour, the man with the legal power, too sweet to be sour, he is also the excellence of elocution. Besides being a great guy, Adam is a true crime aficionado and an avid WWF historian. Who else can get you a great settlement while breaking down Mario Mancini's greatest matches? Well, that one's a quickie. Check out Adam at burbrowerlaw.com and follow him on Facebook. And don't forget to tell him that the bad girl, the Playa, and the stars sent you. Well, before our next commercial, I have to let you guys know that Mrs. P is now in the chat room. So we should say hi to Mrs. P, right?
Oh, yes.
Hi, Mrs. P.
Mrs. P.
Welcome, and
Hi,
thank you
Mrs.
for
P.
tuning in. We appreciate it.
Yes, and I think we have a late song for Mrs. P, don't we?
Oh,
A
should we
happy
do that?
Song.
Yeah, let's
We were
do
going to sing
it.
for her last
Ready?
week.
Go ahead. You
Ready?
start, Brittany.
Happy birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday,
Mrs.
P.
P.
Happy birthday
to
to
you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Happy birthday, Mrs.
Mrs. P.
P.
All right, now we can do our commercial. True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars is brought to you by Uncle Dave's Sausage. Are you hungry? Hungry for something thick, juicy, and just a little bit naughty? Introducing Uncle Dave's Sausage, the only meat that knows exactly how to fill your buns. Whether you like it spicy, smoky, or just plain stuffed to the brim, Uncle Dave's got the girth, the girth of flavor you crave. Morning, evening, a quick nibble at 3 a.m. No shame, baby. Uncle Dave's Sausage is served 24/7 at the carnival, where the rides aren't the only things that go up and down. You might have been into fitness, but once you've had the Uncle Dave's experience, the only thing on your mind will be fitting this sausage in your mouth. Slide it between two warm buns, slather it in mayo, or give it a good squirt of mustard if you're feeling frisky. Don't be shy. You know you want it. Everyone's lining up to take a bite. Even Grandma said it was the best thing to ever slap her in the mouth, because nothing slaps you in the mouth quite as hard as Uncle Dave's Sausage. So, folks, in the heat of the night or the light of the day, when your cravings for meat just won't go away, don't settle for Slim or some flimsy old link. Get Uncle Dave's Sausage. It's thicker than you think. Available now only at the carnival. Bring a friend or two. Uncle Dave's Sausage, the sausage you can't say no to. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go back a little bit in time this week, back to 2004, to the tragic murder of Thomas and Jackie Hawks on their own yacht, of all places. So now Brittany and I are going to lay out the facts, and then we can all chat about it. Here's some more pieces of shit, if there's not a...
I just want to let everyone know I'm paying attention, but I'm walking to my left because Paul Canero trial is going on in New Jersey on court TV. So if my head is turned, I am listening. I'm paying attention.
Okay.
I thought maybe you got
Good
like
to
a new
know.
Ari poster on the wall or something like that.
No, unfortunately, no. But I'm telling you, I love this crime stuff, and to have that verdict come down and watch it live, and now that this trial, this piece of shit's going on. But I just want to let you know I'm listening and I'm here if my head is turned.
All right. Well, I
Okay.
definitely want your comment on the last slide, because that's going to be, I definitely need your input on that. So, but we'll prompt you.
Okay. So we're going to give you a background here of Thomas and Jackie Hawks and the well-deserved. Thomas Tom Hawks, 57, and his wife Jackie Hawks, 47. What a cute couple. Oh my God.
Very nice. They were
For a
madly in love with each
retired-
other, too.
Oh my God, I know. They were a retired American couple from Prescott, Arizona, known for their warm personalities and adventurous life together. Now, Tom was a retired probation officer, believe it or not. And he was also, oh my goodness, I didn't know this. This explains stuff, though. He was bodybuilder.
Yeah, he was in pretty good
Jack
shape.
lived-
For a guy his age, he was jacked.
He was jacked. This explains why over the years I've seen all his photos. And yeah, it totally explains everything. Okay, so they lived aboard their 55-foot motor yacht, the Well Deserved, which they treated as their home. After years of sailing around the Pacific Ocean and the Sea of Cortez, they opted, in 2004, in 2004 to sell the boat and move ashore to be closer to family, particularly their newborn grandchild. The couple listed the well-deserved for sale in late 2004 and docked her in Newport Harbor, California. They hoped that selling the yacht would allow them to buy a smaller vessel and settle near their children and grandchildren. Into this hopeful chapter entered Skylar Preciosa Deleon, born John Julius Jacobson Jr.
It's like John
Then
Jacob
25.
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah. Then 25, and his pregnant wife, Jennifer Lynn Henderson, later Jennifer DeLeon. Skylar had a troubled background, including prior burglary convictions and a stint in the U.S. Marine Corps, from which he deserted shortly after enlistment. He had also appeared as an uncredited extra on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a youth. Wow. Skylar and Jennifer, along with their infant child, visited the Hawks a number of times under the pretext of interest in the well-deserved. The couple were reportedly cautious, but the presence of the DeLeon's baby and the couple's warm demeanor helped put Thomas and Jackie at ease. Skylar, deeply in debt and unable to sustain work, had concocted a plan to murder the sellers, take the yacht and other assets, and benefit financially. According to investigators, his motive was simple: to acquire the boat and life savings to resolve his financial problems. The murder on the morning of November 15th, 2004, the Hawks allowed Skylar, Jennifer, and two other men, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, not related to the
Not
U.S.
that one,
political family. Can you imagine? I know.
Wow.
And Alonso Machain to take the
Papers.
yeah, on what they believed was a test cruise off the coast of Newport Beach. Instead of a routine sail, the outing became a carefully orchestrated ambush. Investigators later determined that the conspirators overpowered Tom and Jackie at sea. Skylar and Kennedy allegedly subdued Thomas below deck, while Machain participated in restraining Jackie. The couple was forced to sign over the yacht's ownership and banking power of attorney documents under duress with the threat of violence. Still alive and begging for their lives, Thomas and Jackie were then bound, gagged, and tied to the yacht's heavy anchor. Ooh. The conspirators cut the anchor line, sending the couple sinking into the Pacific Ocean off Newport Beach. Neither Thomas nor Jackie's body has ever been recovered. The perpetrators returned the yacht to Newport Harbor without the victims, a sight that alarmed friends and family because the normally pristine vessel appeared to be in disarray and the owners could not be reached. The immediate aftermath and investigation. When the well-deserved returned, but the couple did not, their family reported them missing. Initial inquiries revealed oddities. No money had been withdrawn from the Hawks' accounts. Their cell phones had not been used, and no travel arrangements had been made. On November 26, 2004, authorities discovered an attempted transaction on the couple's bank account from Mexico, triggering further alarm. Police traced the attempted access and quickly linked it to the DeLeons. Skylar was interviewed on November 29th, where he claimed he had legitimately purchased the well-deserved and that the Hawks had driven off with the sale money. he produced supposed proof of purchase documents and named McChain as a witness. These statements were riddled with inconsistencies, including conflicting accounts of the cash paid. Detectives found other critical clues aboard the yacht: garbage bags and a receipt for bleach dated November 17th suggested a cleaning effort. Video surveillance later corroborated that Jennifer had purchased those items. As investigators dug deeper, they located the Hawks Honda CRV near Ensenada, Mexico, which was linked to the Deleons. A bribed notary had backdated the sale documents. Each piece of circumstantial evidence began tying Skylar, Jennifer, McChain, and Kennedy to an elaborate murder conspiracy. The arrests and the charges. By March 2005, law enforcement had enough evidence to act. All key suspects were taken into custody: Skylar Deleon, Jennifer Deleon, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Alonzo McChain, and Myron Sandora Gardner Sr., later implicated as an accessory and introducer to Kennedy of Deleon. McChain confessed to involvement after being confronted with evidence and was arrested. Kennedy and the Deleons were also arrested for 2 counts of murder with special circumstances of financial gain and multiple murder. Gardner, a former acquaintance of Deleon's, was charged later as part of the broader machinations.
Machinea. You got it.
Sorry. The case quickly became one of the most chilling murder plots in recent California history due to the brutality and sheer plotting involved. Prosecutors charged all 5 individuals with 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances, financial gain, and multiple murder. These charges made the defendants eligible for the death penalty, thank goodness. From early on, the prosecution's narrative was clear. The Hawkins were killed in cold blood by people they trusted, or at least they believed they could trust, who wanted nothing more than to take their possession and savings.
The defense teams varied in strategy. Notably, at Skylar's trial, his attorney, Gary Polson, shocked some observers by essentially conceding guilt in opening statements, emphasizing his only goal was to save Skylar's life from the death penalty. Trials and conviction. Jennifer Deleon. Jennifer Deleon was the first to be tried. Her role was somewhat peripheral to the on-boat execution, as she was not present when Thomas and Jackie were thrown overboard. However, prosecutors argued she actively participated in planning, assisted in falsifying documents, cleaned the yacht afterwards with bleach, and lied to investigators. Despite some arguments that she was manipulated by Skylar, a jury found Jennifer guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and murder for financial gain. On November 17, 2006, she was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Skylar Deleon and John F. Kennedy, not that one. Skylar Deleon and John Fitzgerald Kennedy faced separate trials. Both were charged as principal actors in the murders. Prosecutors argued that they not only overpowered the couple, but also intentionally tied them to the anchor and dumped them into the ocean alive, a fact supported by admissions from McChain and physical evidence. Kennedy, who had been brought in by Gardner and had posed as DeLeon's accountant, I don't know, he didn't look like an accountant to me, was a muscular and intimidating presence, making his role in restraining Thomas Hawks central to the prosecution's case. After trials in Orange County Superior Court, juries returned guilty verdicts. Skylar Deleon, convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. John F. Kennedy, likewise convicted of the same counts. In sentencing proceedings, juries recommended the death penalty for both Deleon and Kennedy. In April 2009, Superior Court Judge Frank F. Fassel formally imposed the death sentence on Deleon, affirming the jury's recommendation. Alonzo McChain and Myron Gardner. Alonzo McChain, who had cooperated extensively with prosecutors, pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter, 2 counts, as well as kidnapping and robbery in each of in exchange for his testimony against the principal defendants. His cooperation meant he avoided a murder conviction and an automatic death penalty exposure, instead facing a lengthy prison term. Myron Sandora Gardner Sr., who did not participate directly in the killings but introduced Kennedy to Deleon and had knowledge of the plot, pleaded to a reduced accessory after the fact charge. He served a relatively short sentence before release. Aftermath and legacy. The brutal slaying of Thomas and Jackie Hawks sent shockwaves through boating communities and beyond. The calculated nature of the crime, posing as buyers, using familial innocence, which when they brought their baby, to gain trust, and murdering a couple to obtain their property, made headlines and drew intense media coverage. The well-deserved itself was preserved as evidence for years due to its centrality in the crime, possibly one of the largest single physical pieces of evidence ever held in an Orange County murder investigation. Once the criminal proceedings concluded, the yacht was eventually returned to the Hawks family. Family members have spoken publicly after the void left by the murders. The Hawks were described by loved ones as honest, hardworking, and generous people who were simply planning a new chapter in their lives when it was cruelly cut short. Conclusion. The murder of Thomas and Jackie Hawks on November 15, 2004 stands as one of Southern California's most harrowing examples of murder for profit. A trusting couple seeking to sell their beloved home on the sea were lured into the open ocean under false pretenses and met a brutal end at the hands of those they believed were earnest buyers. Through dogged detective work, careful examination of financial and physical evidence, and the cooperation of at least one co-conspirator, investigators pieced together the conspiracy. The trial and conviction of Skylar Deleon, Jennifer Deleon, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and others served justice for the victims and underscored the grave consequences of deception and greed. Wow. Unbelievable. What do you think? I mean, Brittany, like how low are these people? When you use your own child to fool somebody, I mean, that's God's got a special curse in store for you. I'm sorry.
I totally agree. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe he involved his wife, although she must have. I mean, she was involved. Maybe she involved
I
herself.
think she was a very willing participant, in my opinion.
Yeah, it certainly sounds that way. But you know what? Like you said, what pieces of crap to take a baby on board. Oh my God. I remember when this happened, and it really, really, I could not believe that a couple or anybody, but especially a couple, was so calculated to do what they did and like over time plan this and then follow through and do it the way they did it. I mean, oh my gosh. And that couple looks like the most wholesome, sweetest couple.
They were absolutely everything that everybody said. And all I wanted to do was, they wanted to sell the boat so they had a brand new grandson back in Arizona, and they wanted to spend time with them. I mean, unreal.
So sad.
What about you, Dave?
Well, a few points here. All these people want to do. I mean, I have grandkids. All these people wanted to do was spend time with the grandkids. I mean, they're willing to sell their dream and go to live with their grandkids. I wish, in hindsight, that they didn't let those other 3 on the ship. Like, if I was selling something to somebody, he showed up with 3 other guys, you ain't getting on my ship.
This is my 400-pound, 7'8" accountant. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, right. You ain't getting. I wish in hindsight they were a little bit more diligent as far as trust goes in people. Because
I think, after they saw the kid and she was pregnant, I believe, with another one, They thought, oh, it's a young family, they have money, this is great.
Oh,
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're buying this, why do you need three other people to go on a boat with you and test drive it?
exactly.
You don't need three other people. You need yourself to tell you're paying for it. All you need is yourself. These three ain't coming with you. That's what I would have told them.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I mean, they must have been.
And
I mean, I
look,
could just picture them, alive, sinking in the ocean, and there's nothing they could do.
well, even
What
like they were tied, I think they were gagged and they were tied up in bed. And I mean, I guess the husband was stroking the wife's hand because he knew it was going to happen. And then one of the last things they did was they made the couple sign powers of attorney with fingerprints and I guess a bill of sale and also a power of attorney that they the Deleon was going to be in charge of all their assets. And I mean, what makes you think that that's going to work? I don't get.
Well, the first thing I would have told him is I ain't signing nothing until we go back to land. That's it. If you don't want to go back to land, I'm not signing anything over to you because at that point you're going anyways.
I mean, that's your only leverage. I mean, I guess maybe in their minds, well, if we do this, maybe they'll let us live. But no, I mean, you basically just sign your own death warrant because now they have to get rid of you.
Right. No, that's how I would have played it. I would have just said, no, we go to land and I'll sign everything over. But if not, then do what you got to do. But I'm not signing nothing over till we go to land. And I would have bullshitted them, promised them everything. Hey, go back. I'll sign it right on the dock. Everything that you need. But I'm not signing nothing until we go back and dock.
Right.
But it's a shame that
get a job like everybody else.
There's so much evil.
Now,
so much
he had
evil.
killed somebody else in Mexico before this. So this was his first rodeo.
Oh,
and he, I think in the intro, Brittany, you were saying that he went AWOL in the Marines. He had a burglar. He had a bunch of, he had a rap sheet before this. And that girl was not innocent. Again, who's the victims? Those two little babies, besides the couple, of course.
Right. Yeah, where are they? I wonder now.
I don't know, And then they got to hear stories about what pieces of shit their parents were.
And imagine looking that up and seeing that. God.
And to be able not to
that couple in Canada. God, the girl's name is Carla.
Carla.
Yeah, Homolka, that was it. I can't remember the guy's name, but they just randomly killed people. But they didn't do it for the money. They just did it for the sport of it.
Right.
I mean, these guys did have a motive. They thought they were going to. I mean, I guess they thought that when they got back and now they have this, bill of sale, they got power of attorney, they're going to clean out their bank accounts, they're going to sell a boat, But these, what they didn't really, I think about is the fact that these people were like clockwork. They called their kids like every day, and plus, I think his brother was a police chief.
Wow.
Hawks' brother was a police chief, and he talked to him about the Deleons. So the brother already knew who these people were.
Wow.
And then when they went to their house, well, they lived with mommy and daddy because they don't have any money because they don't have jobs, and they found a bunch of evidence there, and then it's just a matter of finding them.
Wow.
And all these people wanted to do was just be with their grandkid. And
they just, that title, well deserved. I think it was already the title when they bought it, but so fitting. I mean, this nice, and she, the mom wasn't really. She was a stepmom when they got married. I think he was about 12 years older than her, or 10 years older than her. He was a single dad, and those kids were, still like in elementary school, I think, and. They just blended as a family. The two kids called her mom. They thought the world of her. It's sickening.
That's why anybody out there that puts anything on, the marketplace, you get that marketplace on your phone, and you get anybody that wants to look at whatever you got. I mean, first of all, don't ever have anybody come to your house. That's rule number one.
Well, and that was part of the problem is they didn't go through a broker, which they probably should have. They wanted to save on the fee, and that's why they listed it like that. But I mean, look, sometimes it's worth going. It's going paying the extra money just to have a peace of mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. If you're selling anything on Marketplace, don't have anybody come to your house. And if you're selling something, meet them at the police station. They want to set up a meeting, whatever you're buying, whatever you're selling, sneakers, watches, whatever you may be selling, always meet at the police station. Always meet at the police. Don't ever have anybody come to your house.
Except
Yep.
Ari. If she came to your house, that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Well,
You want to
I
meet
think
Ari in a
my,
public place, or like Applebee's and.
yeah. I mean, it depends what I was selling. If she came by herself, yeah, we could talk about the first thing that popped up or
What if she
something
was
like
selling?
that.
I mean, she
But
was selling herself.
yeah,
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
selling herself.
yeah. Well, come on in. Come on in. We could.
You would
We
meet at
can look at
Applebee's first and have an apple teeny, and she can play footsies with you under the table, and then.
Yeah, I could teach you how to skin a cucumber. Stuff like that, and yeah. That meeting would
But
go
no,
well.
that might be an exception. But in general, yes, you meet people in public places.
Yeah,
That's a good public service
I agree.
announcement.
I'm very shocked that the guy, God rest his soul, like it didn't raise a red
No.
flag when he showed up with these. And not only did he show up with 3 guys, but look at him.
I
Just
know.
put the picture back up if you can,
I'm
Ben.
gonna say this. This is like maybe please don't judge me. But when I guess I was 48. I met a 24-year-old girl, and I lived here in Newport Richie. I met a 24-year-old girl from Melbourne, which is the opposite side of Florida. It's 180 miles, and she drove 180 miles to spend the weekend with me. Of course, that's why they call me the Playa, right? It goes back a long way. But she without a cell phone. And I said to her, you're very lucky. I'm a good guy. I said, but you're out of your effing mind to have come that far to meet me, who's a total stranger. You don't know me. And, without a cell phone, without letting anybody know where you were, you just don't do it. I mean, I wound up giving her a lecture. It turned out okay, but, I mean, if I was her parent, I would have screamed, like, what are you, crazy? What are you doing? You don't do stuff like that.
What did you teach her there, Player? How to bone a chicken? Like, what did you guys do?
I helped, actually, believe it or not, again, please don't judge me, but she had to take an algebra class online for college. And guess who wound up taking the class for her?
Oh, no.
Now, this is 2004. I took algebra in 9th grade in 1969. So that's pretty quick math, 35 years ago, 35 years later. Guess who got an A+ in the class, though?
You did.
I did.
You did?
Or she did,
Wow.
I guess, right? But I did,
Yeah.
Wow.
But I just, I mean, like, I guess the decent person and the parent in me took over before anything else. I mean, she was a really nice girl. Very nice girl. We had a good time. I mean, I wound up seeing each other for about a year after that. But it's just like I said, that's just an incredibly dumb thing to do. She had an old beat up van, Dodge van, like a Plymouth Voyager or a Dodge Caravan, with no cell phone. Just something you don't do. So, like, people out there, be careful. You never know.
Now, was she a shaver? Like, did she shave her armpits or anything like that? Was she a shaver?
She wasn't hairy. I mean, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, what year was this?
2004.
Yeah, so
But I will say this: she was 2 years before that. She had been a dancer.
Okay, a dancer where? Like at a cocktail hour?
Yeah, like she made some good money. I mean, when you have a job like that, every day is payday, right?
Yeah. I mean, did she dance in a nursing home? Where was she a dancer?
I think if she had danced in a nursing home, she would have killed many patients.
Yeah. Okay.
No myocardial infarction, No, there's a place down here called Mons Venus. I think it's still there. It's known as the best. strip club in Tampa. For some reason, she got a call that she could dance there. Now, this is what, 22 years ago? She made $3,000 in one night.
She was a stripper? She was a stripper?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a dancer.
Wow.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice,
Oh.
you know?
Well, I didn't know.
It's
I thought maybe she danced at Comic-Con or something
You
like
reminded
that.
me
I
of
didn't
one of
know
my
she-
favorite movies, Arthur. Remember he's having dinner? He goes, "You're a hooker." I just thought I was doing
Yeah.
well with you. Yeah, I am a hooker.
Yeah. Yeah, Demi Moore. I mean, that Moore guy. Yeah.
Dudley Moore. Yeah.
Dudley
Dudley.
Moore.
look.
Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta. Yes, Mrs. P. I have had a quite interesting life. If somebody would buy it, if I sell more than 11 copies, I'd actually write a book.
Oh, I think
Well-
you'd sell a lot more than that.
Yeah, maybe 17.
Yeah, I know a guy who could help you out. Sheldon Goldberg. He sells about that many books. He could help you write a book. It put you in the right direction.
I've thought about it. Scott Teal is a friend of mine. He's owner of Crowbar Press, and he's a really good guy. And I chatted with him about it a while back because I thought about it. Maybe writing a bio of one of these wrestlers. And he said, "Well, if you're going to do it, don't do it in the expectation of making money. You're going to spend a lot of time and probably a lot of your own money." Now, the only thing is, they call it a vanity project. I mean, it's nice to see this book with your name on it, but no, thank you. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, whatever happened to her? Do you ever see this girl around or?
No, we kind of went our separate ways. Actually, we lost touch after one of the hurricanes that year. I guess it would have been 2003, not 2004. But we lost touch in 2004. That's when Florida got hit with, there's like 3 or 4 of them, Charlie, Jeannie, Ivan. There's a whole bunch of them all at once. And her area got flooded. And she wound up having to stay with her ex-boyfriend, who she wound up hooking up with and having another child with him. So, yeah, that was
Lovely.
Oh, boy.
So it was meant to be. I mean, what happened was meant to be. Fun girl. We used to go to the dog track in Melbourne. We had a blast. Very good cook. First time I ever had biscuits and gravy was at her house.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a very healthy eater. I've been for years. And I thought, I can indulge once. We must have ate. It was like 8 o'clock. By 5 at night, I was still full. That stuff just lays in your stomach.
I bet. Ooh.
Right.
But Dave,
So,
I saved the best for last. I can't stop it anymore because we need your take on this. So here, this picture to the right, that is now Skylar Deleon after transitioning a couple of years ago. Now that's bad enough. Here's the bad part. This is what I really want your opinion on. It was paid for by the state of California.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. Gary Newsom is out there right now. I think what's his name, Newsom. That state is, excuse my language, but that state's all fucked up. I mean, anybody that watched the Grammys last night, these people are all fucked up. That state is one. You know what that state is? One big ball of shit. That's what that state is. The people and the people
I call them shithole states. That is definitely a shithole state. That's probably the number one shithole state. And to do something like that, this is somebody who killed 3 people, who is on death row, and you're going to pay to, for this. I would have volunteered to do it myself. Like, I'll buy an X-Acto knife. Come here, I'll fix you up.
So this girl helped murder these people, and then she transitioned.
Well, no, the guy, Skylar Deleon, the guy on the left.
Oh, guy, that's him, and
he became the girl on the right.
California. Well, I'm not into that stuff. Like,
well, if you want to do that, that's your business. But for you to be on death row and for taxpayers to have to pay for that, if I'm a taxpayer in California, I'm driving to the guy. I'm to wherever Newsom is. It's like, what the? Are you kidding me? My tax dollars paying for that?
It just seems today in America, this is how I see it, and I've talked to the women's champion about this. It just seems to me in America that bad is good and good is bad.
Right.
It just seems like everybody
It's
that
like,
does
now
bad.
the fans cheer for the heels, and they boo the baby faces, right?
I don't get our
Bad is good.
population. Listen, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but all ICE is doing, all they want to do is get the bad people off the streets and out of our country. I don't get
Right.
why people are against ICE. All they want to do, again, I'll repeat myself, is get the bad people, the rapists, the murderers, the gang members, the fuck out of here. And
I
these
will
people,
say this, any of these people who had a family member killed by an illegal alien, you're going to be whistling a different tune. You're going to want them out of here as quick as possible. These people have no skin in the game. They have nothing. A lot of these protesters are paid anyway.
right.
Really?
Well, I'm going to tell you something my mother told me. My mother raised 6 boys. My father took off and he never came back. So I'm going to tell you, she remarried. We had a stepfather. We grew up in a house. They didn't have a lot of money. They paid the mortgage. So I'm going to tell you something that my mother taught us growing up constantly when we got older. She used to say, if you go out my door, down my steps, looking for trouble, trouble is going to find you. And if it does, don't call me because I don't have any bill money to help you. You're on your own. And when you
Very
go
wise.
to an ICE, right? When you go to an ICE rally with a fully loaded, I don't care if you have a fucking permit or not, with a fully loaded gun and 2 magazines, and you're in the street spitting at ICE, telling ICE, kicking the cars, you know what? You deserve what you got. I'm sorry. I don't care. No one deserves to die. But listen, you went looking, like my mother said, you went down the steps looking for trouble, and trouble found you. The same in the one with the car. And don't look at the shootings. Look what preceded the shootings. Don't look at the actual shooting. Like the woman in the car. She was going from street to street, blocking ICE, tooting her horn, harassing them, her and her wife, and then we all saw what happened. Again, if you go down my steps looking for trouble, trouble's going to find you. And trouble found these people. And then I just don't get it. Again, bad is good and good is bad in this country. I don't get it. And the people they should be mad at, the people that they really should be pissed off at it is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because they created this whole situation. The people aren't in office. Just the people who are in office are just trying to clean the mess up. That's all they're trying to do.
Well, you know what I think is the ultimate irony? Bruce Springsteen, who I really never liked anyway, but he's I guess he wrote a song about the 2 ICE victims. But and I would respect the man if he also wrote a song about all the victims that were killed by illegals. Where's the outrage for that? None. I mean, but you have 2 people who, by all accounts, I'm sorry if you weren't at the rally, if you didn't interject yourself. I mean, I have nothing to worry about. I go to there's not going to be an ICE protest at Grandma Sally's. There's not going to be an ICE protest outside my house. Or outside the gym. I go to places where, when you look, like Dave, you said it exactly. Your mom was a very wise woman. If you look for trouble, you're going to find it. You don't have to look too far either.
Yep, that's what she had 6 boys. Her and my stepfather didn't have any extra money. They paid the bill, they paid the mortgage, bought the food, and that's what she said. You open my door, go down my steps, and you go look for trouble. Trouble's going to find you. Don't call me because I have no bill money to get you out. Don't call me. And that was that. And that's what we were brought up on. And the thing is, it's only 2, in my view, and I teach my kids the same thing. There's only 2 ways to go in life. There's only 2 sides to be on in life today. You're either on the side of evil or you're on the side of good and Jesus. There's no gray area anymore. You're either on the side of the fucked up people or you're on the side of good. And that's the way it is. And when I see this
question, because I'm a little bit older than you guys, but not that much. But did you ever think, like when we were growing up in the 60s and the 70s, if somebody would have showed you a picture of the world, like say in 1973, I was 18, you guys were a little bit younger, and if they showed you this is what the world is going to look like in 2026, would you have believed it?
Never.
Well, the thing is, after they killed John F. Kennedy, I believe the government killed him. After that, I mean, our politicians. See, the difference between politicians of that era and politicians today. Back then, politicians stole money, but they did it behind your back. Today, they just do it in front of your face and tell you to fuck off. That's
Right.
it. That's how they do it today, you know? And I'm
You
gonna
know, the funny thing is, like, even with Kennedy, I mean, you know, the biggest difference is, you know, back then the press tried to protect public figures. Like, no, the press would never expose JFK, and we know that he was a womanizer, right? But now, I mean, it's the polar opposite. The press lives to destroy public figures and politicians.
Yeah. Yeah. Very different.
Yeah, can I tell you another quick story about my mother? And I've told,
of course.
I've told
What's your
Brittany
mom?
this
Dave, what's your
before.
mom's first name? I have to know that. So
She was an old Irish lady. Her name was Margaret Peggy. So we called her Margaret, but people called her Peggy.
Okay.
So I noticed, and you don't notice this stuff growing up. And I'm going to tell you the story for what happens today with our politicians. So I noticed in 1980 that my mother never voted, you know, and so I asked her one day, I said, "Ma, how come you never vote?" And she said, "You know why I don't vote? Because the only thing these politicians are going to do for is themselves. They're all crooks. The only thing they're going to do for is themselves and their buddies. They're not going to do anything for you." And she was so right. I mean, she is so right, in my opinion, with that assessment. And look at Joe Biden. You know, look what he did. I'm just using him as an example. Look what he did when he was in office. You know, he sold his position for his son. I mean, his son gets a job at I think it was in Ukraine or Russia, for an energy company making $1 million a year. The guy, right. And he was a crackhead. Then he's selling portraits, art. He's selling art to these governments for $500,000. It's like, so, you know, it's exactly what my mother said. You know, all they're going to do is they're all crooks, and all they're going to do is for themselves and their buddies.
Back in the day, people got into politics, you know, to actually be a public servant. Whereas nowadays, people get into politics for a profit.
Yep.
And
very different.
And you're right, but the thing is, they steal right in front of you.
Yep.
But the politicians, they'll steal it today. They'll steal right in front of you and tell you, "Hey, there's nothing to see here. Just keep moving along." Where at least back in the old days, they were slick about it and did it behind your back.
Right.
They don't even do it behind your back today. You know?
I know. Quite bold.
Yeah. Yeah, looking back, you know, again, going back to 1973, you know, things weren't perfect in the world, but they were a lot more innocent and pure and good. You know, I think people were good, and we weren't divided as a country like we are now. That's for sure.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
And you know, I don't know. I'm going to use me for an example. I don't know if my mother was right or wrong, but she was right to me. In my eyes, she was right, and today she's still right. And maybe some people out there don't agree with me out there in true crime podcast land, but to me, she was right. And I take what she said back in 1980, and I take it up to the present. And look at all these crooked politicians we have. They're so crooked, and that's why we have what's going on in our streets today. Not because of crooked politicians. That's why we have what's going on.
Oh, I got one sale, Mrs. P.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. Now I got to think about it.
Yep.
Well, they have these things now. I think it's called Book Baby, where you can actually like do your own book, and it's not quite as expensive, and you kind of do it as you go along. I don't know. Maybe someday. I'm having too much fun doing this. I don't want to give this up.
There you go.
Chris DiCarlo just said something. If you can put that up, but
yeah. There we go. What do you think happened to all the climate control money?
Yeah, you're right. And It's a little story I'm going to tell you. I don't know if it's ever going to, if Gavin Newsom runs for president, but Gavin Newsom and his wife. Gavin Newsom is he's right where he belongs in a piece of shit state. Like, it's too bad California turned out like that, because it's at one time was beautiful, but all those fires they had out there, Gavin Newsom and his wife made up a company. They started a company, a fake startup company, so they could put in for funds from the fire fund. They have a fund out there for them. They have a fund that the money goes into this fund to rebuild the houses. And they started a startup company, like a building company, and they actually got money from this fire fund. He's such a crook. He's such a piece of shit, him and his wife.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's why. And that's why Trump is trying to, and I'm not saying Trump is, I'm not saying anything about Trump, but he has to step in California. He's trying to get those houses rebuilt, but they were supposed to start a long time ago, like a year ago.
Jesus.
But that's why you see these Somalis in Minnesota starting up these fake child daycare centers to steal from the government. So then you say to yourself, well, is it their fault? Or is it our politicians that write the laws and allow them into the country to do it?
Right.
Well, I mean, and where's the oversight? I mean, I work for Pasco County down here, and we got a grant that's through the Older Americans Act that fed the seniors over 60. But there was so much paperwork. I mean, it was a full-time job just keeping up with that grant, and they checked everything. They even came to our site, and they would ride on the delivery drivers' trucks to make sure the meals were being delivered. They would quality control them, temperature test them. I mean, they did everything. I mean, people say close enough for government work. They at least the government job I had, you had to be to the penny. Now, when I see stuff like this, I'm dumbfounded. It's like, where is the oversight? Who's watching? Who's minding the store here? It's crazy. I mean, like,
exactly. What a difference.
Can you put Mrs. P's comment up there? Thank you, Mrs. P. I appreciate that comment. She was a good mom. She stood by us. My father took off when we were all young and never came back. Fortunately, she married a good man. But I just take what she told me growing up, and I just apply and I teach that to Tiffany and Tori. I teach that to my kids when they were growing up, the same thing, and I just apply it to that. And when you apply something like that your parents taught you to today, everything else works out. It's simple.
It's funny how, like, parents say stuff and you don't really think about it, like when you're a kid, but you kind of, they say it enough times. Like my dad would always say, when you have a job, just remember that, if you don't do well, that there are 10 other people, waiting in line who will gladly take your job. And I've approached work, from the day I first started working till the day I retired, I approached every job that way. So I mean, if my dad was alive, I'd thank him. It's like I have a work ethic, and I learned that from my parents. I learned respect from my parents. When I was in my 50s, and I would go back to my old neighborhood, and back in Long Island, and some of the neighbors were still alive. They were like in their 80s, and I was in my 50s, and I would still call them Mr. and Mrs. Because
I do the same.
It was respect. They deserve respect.
Thank you, Mrs. P, for the next. She also made another comment. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I tried the best I could. I mean, I've had my faults, but I try to be the best, the best role model I could be. But I'm not perfect. But whatever my mother taught me, I try to teach my children too, and that's what I try to do. And I'll tell you one thing. This is the truth. If we got in trouble and got arrested, my mother would have left us in prison. She wouldn't have come down there and bailed us out. I don't think my parents would have bailed me out. They would have been like absolutely horrified.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, you were on your own. That was it.
That wasn't even like a thought in my mind to get in any kind of trouble.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the money they had went to the mortgage, to food, to taken care of. They didn't have no money to come down and bail you out, or they didn't have any of that kind of money. And you know what? We didn't get in trouble either.
Right. Exactly.
No, I mean, maybe it's a lost art, but like I lived to please my parents. Now, did I mess up once in a while? Yeah, I was a kid, but I felt like I knew enough to know that my parents, it wasn't cheap to raise me, and it was a lot of work, and they worked really hard. I wanted to do good by them.
Sure.
It's not,
Maybe
I mean, it's
I
like
was goody
this.
two shoes. I don't know.
It's like this Brian Walsh. Listen, me and my kid's mother broke up. Okay, we broke up. It was a bad breakup, but never did I ever think to harm her. Like, why would I want my two daughters to grow up without their mother, like this Brian Walsh did? Like, harming her was
Right.
never. I just got up, got a place, picked myself up, dusted myself off, and then when I was up on my feet, it took me about 3 or 4 months. I went back and got my kids, and for visitation, it took my kids all the time. It took me a few months to get up on my feet, but I did it. And but I never thought about harming anybody. I never thought about, I'll kill her and I'll get custody of my kids. I just don't
Crazy.
understand people's thought process today.
Well, I mean,
No.
how many cases have we gone through where, these killers were from a broken home? They didn't have a mother like yours to teach you right from wrong. Now, I mean, is that an excuse? No, but I mean, it just seems like in many of these cases, these kids came from a home without a strong dad or strong parents.
Very true.
Right. Yep.
But yeah,
So I guess we're all blessed here. That's the story for tonight.
I thank my lucky stars. I mean, my parents weren't perfect. I mean, none of us are perfect. When I think about it, like my parents were, adults trying to get by in the world just like I am now, or
Exactly.
Right.
They did their best. But you know what? I will say that I never, for 1 second in my entire life, did I ever doubt that I was loved and valued by my parents. So, I mean, I think that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Well, Brittany, you're back on the radio, right? On Saturdays?
I am. Yes.
Now, what time is that?
That is 1 to 5 Eastern time every Saturday.
All right. And that's Funland Radio, correct?
Funland Radio. Yep. Every Saturday, 1 to 5 Eastern time.
Well, I am for now still on Want Radio. I kind of like I'm going to cut back. I'm probably going to do maybe one or two shows a month. I am not going to do it this Sunday because I, like everybody else, want to enjoy the Super Bowl. So as long as we're talking about that, who are you guys picking for the Super Bowl?
Well, my opinion is the Patriots don't deserve to be there. They shouldn't be there. And my thought process is because Buffalo and Kansas City are much better teams, but unfortunately Buffalo got screwed. Denver was a much better team, but unfortunately, who breaks their leg? What quarterback breaks their leg the second to last play of the game? And Denver didn't have a starting quarterback, and they lost by, what was it, 3 points or 6 points?
Right.
If they had a quarterback, they would have won. And my opinion is the Patriots don't belong there, but they're there. And I just think that I don't know how it's going to go because the quarterback on the other side, what's his name? Sam
Darnold.
Sam Darnold. I mean, the Patriots had his number when he was a Jet, so I think this is just a toss-up. I think Seattle's going to be the better team. I don't think the Patriots deserve to be there. That's just my opinion.
I kind of look at them as paper champions. I agree with you. I think it's not a fluke when you win all these. I mean, when you win the number of games that they won, but they had a relatively easy schedule. But bottom line is, there's TB number 12 is not going to be taking the snaps this Sunday. I'm going to predict Seattle 30, Patriots 13.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close. Brittany, what about you?
Ooh, I think Seattle is going to be 26 and the Patriots are going to be 21.
All right, so pretty close.
Well, see, the NFL, I look at things differently than coming from the wrestling business. I just think that if you ever look at the Super Bowl now, it's no more blowouts. They're always close. I believe that everything has to do with betting. Everything has to do with the Vegas, DraftKings. And you got to remember one thing. The NFL does not want a blowout, because if they have a blowout, what are people going to do? They're going to start shutting their TVs off. And what about the sponsors that paid $4 million for 2-minute ad?
Well, I don't think this was their idea of a dream matchup, either Seattle and New England. I mean, I think they would have had like maybe the Chiefs and the 49ers, or the Chiefs and the Eagles. That would have been a good, as far as from a commercial point of view, this has got to be like a nightmare for them. But yeah, I agree with you. If it starts getting out of hand, people are going to start doing other stuff.
I hope that Seattle defense picks that Drake May up and slams his scrawny little shoulders into the ground and dislocates both of them. And they carry him out on a stretcher. The meat wagon. Get the meat wagon. Carry him out.
The old pile driver.
Yep. Get the meat wagon.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. I guess we'll find out. All right, guys. Well, we talked about Brittany's radio show, mine, and we will see you guys next Monday. Have a great week. See you next crime.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Mrs. P. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Good night, have a happy Super Bowl Sunday.
Good night, Justin. Have a great Super Bowl, everyone.
Yeah, stay safe and stay warm and stay out of trouble.
Yes.
We're not going to
trouble. Yes. Yeah. Hug